Hey, as we wrap up this week, we are talking about maybe the most important word in our value statement. We value the investment work of discipleship. Discipleship, huge, huge deal. We are all about discipleship at Yosemite Church. Remember our vision statement? Do you know it? Can you say it with me that we are a loving community of, here it is, growing what? Disciples. Yeah. So if you've been around, this might sound a little bit like a broken record, but it bears repeating. We are absolutely committed to this whole thing about discipleship. Why? Because it's the big deal. It's the business of God. Back in our John 15, we said the four things that are kind of fruit of his presence: his love, his joy, his friendship, and his business. Intimate priority, an intimate perspective, an intimate presence, and an intimate purpose. The purpose of the church is to make disciples. That's the process of leading someone into a relationship with God where they're exploring all kinds of stuff. We want them to discover that relationship with Jesus, teaching them to rely and learn to lean and depend on him. All of John 15 was about dependence. That's the journey of discipleship, learning to live dependently on him, and so we can surrender fully as his disciples and then be disciple makers. So that's a big deal. Disciple in Greek, matthias, means to be a learner or a pupil, one who learns by following and emulating. So when you and I follow Jesus, emulate Jesus, we can be the kind of person that the Apostle Paul described himself as one that could say, "Follow me as I follow Christ." That's a disciple maker, someone who's saying, "I'm following Jesus. I'm right on his tail. I'm learning to be like him. Follow me as this works." So we want to pass that on. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2, he says in the Message Bible, listen to this: "Throw yourself into this work for Christ. Pass on what you heard from me to reliable leaders who are competent to teach others." I love that. There's 5 generations in there. So someone passed it from Jesus, it went to Paul. From Paul, it went to Timothy. From Timothy to reliable leaders who are competent to teach others. Just look at what he wants us to do. He wants us to be reproducing ourselves. That's what discipleship does. It's this investment work that multiplies. And so you and I are disciples. The New Testament was written by disciples, about disciples, for disciples. It's the document that we study to understand how to be better disciples. And when that's happening, we know that we are in the process of spiritual formation. Beautiful little definition of spiritual formation by Ronald Mulholland in his book, Invitation to a Journey. I love this. You'll see this pop up at YC. I love this little statement. His definition of spiritual formation is that it's the process of being formed in the image of Christ for the sake of others. I'll say it again. It's beautiful. The process, simple but beautiful, the process of being formed in the image of Christ, made to look like Jesus, for the sake of others. That's what we're doing. All that we're doing isn't for us. It's great that I get the benefits of knowing and loving Jesus and being a better person because of it. But the end doesn't, I'm not an end in myself. All that God's doing in me, he's doing it so it can flow through me. Same thing's true for you. I don't know where you get distracted about thinking, it's all about me. What do I get out of it? They didn't serve me well. All that kind of compulsion to kind of think just about me, what I want, what I get, that's not the disciples' mentality. The disciples' mentality is all the things that I gain from knowing Jesus, the being formed in him, is for the sake of others. Both others within the church and others outside the church. Both. Lord Jesus, we want to be the kind of disciples that are in passionate pursuit of you, becoming more like you so we can lead others to you. Lord, work this in us. We agree that we want to set aside the old ways, pick up the new, cultivate the kind of habits, practices, and disciplines that transform us from where we are to where you want us to be for the sake of others. I look forward so much this month. We're going to have fun being together. God bless you. I will see you this weekend. Take care.